hyper unique, right? That they represent, there's not, when we go to read, the lives of the saints, what we don't see is bland uniformity. And that's what you think it's going to be. Like, we really think, I was thinking about this last night, we really think that demons are more interesting than angels.
But the angels are demons, neath thinnest of guise. Who then are the demons? Will you be surprised?
I think it's important for people to understand the traditional difference between an angel and a demon, for example, like to understand why we have that difference. And one of them is the notion that like this grasping towards our desires, right? So it's like our fears, our desires, or whatever, you grasp them. And when you grasp them and you think that they're the thing, like they're the thing that will provide everything for you, right? That's why addiction functions that way, right? It's like I'm going to put all my desires and my being into this thing because I think it's going to provide for me something that it's not capable of providing. So, but when that happens, that's when that's when we could say that the agency that's acting on you is something like demonic, right? That's why the demons in traditional lore are always connected to your passions, right? We said the demon of lust, the demon of envy, the demon of greed, right? So it's like the demon of these are the types of agencies that are hooking into you that way, right? So what happens is that when you give in to those, you become a slave.
Yeah.
You become a slave of that, right? When you give in to addiction, now addiction is the best way to understand it, right? When you give in to addiction, you get a little bit of consolation, but then that consolation right away falls into a type of slavery, where you become a slave of the thing that you think will provide for you. The angel or the good principalities, what they do is they always stack up towards the higher good. Mm-hmm. And so first of all, they don't enslave you directly, which why it makes it more difficult to do good, right? So it's like you actively give your will up to something, and that thing that you're giving up to is lined up towards a higher good. So you participate in something with a certain amount of effort, and then that thing that you participated is aligned towards more and more. So a simple way to understand that is, when let's say you're digging a trench, and you're digging a trench so that, you can stop a flood that's coming. And the reason why you're doing it is so that you can help your neighbor, and that feeds into something that's higher. So digging a trench will never become an addiction. Like, you won't become addicted to digging trenches. An effort, and it will scale into higher goods. And so that's how angels function. And that's why angels are identified with virtues, right? We literally have certain category of angels that we call the virtues, because they are the principalities of all that is good in human behavior. And so they are a type of agency, but they act differently. And that's why it's so hard, because this whole thing, like, that's why it's so difficult, because the whole AI thing, the way that it's setting itself up, the way that technology and intelligence is connected now is always devouring of attention, right? It's always always trying to feed off of your intelligence in order to give power and money to certain forces.
The angels are demons. Neath thinnest of guise, who then are the demons. Will you be surprised?
Morphic fields and angels, and so basically, if we're talking about angels, we're also talking about demons. And I know, like, if you hear that word demon, you're gonna be like, oh my god, like seemingly big monster or something. And I'm not sure if that's not probably the most accurate frame to look at that through. It's like the war in the heavens. Is that the war of attention?
But the angels are demons, under thinnest of guise, Who then are the demons? Will you be surprised?